It is 2 o'clock in the morning. I am currently leaving the house north side of Houston, and I am heading to Laredo, which means I'm going to be blowing through Houston at 3 o'clock in the morning. And the reason I'm filming is the traffic should be super neat. You can see the lights, the neon lights and whatnot, and I'm not going to be stuck in traffic while we're doing it. Get up here and double check and make sure my headset's working. It is 65 through here. Cool. Pick up some speed. And right there. Alright, we are up at the speed. Let me check something really fast. Alright. It's working. Cool. Alright. Slight crosswind. Looks like it's going to be a slight tailwind if this one. This is a 4-lane right here, and years ago this was a 2-lane. 2 on this side, 2 on the other, but now there's 4, which is kind of a nice change of pace. I picked up the load that I have on board. I picked up the other day south of Knoxville, a Laredo run of almost 1,300 miles, and I drove home here north of Houston. It was 900 and change, and I got home at 1 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning, and I have been hanging out since then. So now it's Monday morning at 2, and I have to drive down there for this drop, and then I'm going to turn around and come home and be off for a week. Let's see if anybody wants to join in. I know the time is off. Ready for my one person that jumped in here. I have just taken off 2 o'clock in the morning here north side of Houston, and they're gone. Anyway, I was heading to Laredo. I have one very large pallet on board, and this is going to take me right down into the heart of Houston and turn off on 59, which I'm going to chase all the way down to Laredo. And the reason I'm screaming right now is this is the drive into Houston without traffic, which is kind of nice, and there's a lot of lights down here and a lot of neon if anybody's interested. But this road right here, when I first moved up here in 2001, this was 2 lanes. Now we got 4, so it's pretty serious business. When I drove home from the south side of Knoxville to the north side of Houston, it's 900 something miles, and I drove home direct here in the van, and I got home at 1 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, and it was tiring. It was tiring. But now I got to make this last run down to Laredo, drop this off, and the cargo that people run for expediting is concentrated on the northeast part of the country, so I'm kind of out of the range of it, and the battle for living here is getting a load here to get up to the northeast, which leaves me at home for a while, and then finding a load to get home, which is Laredo. So there's some deadhead, but it's usually a good pay and run to get down there because you can't get out of Laredo. There's not anything coming north. So here we go. This here, the town we are currently driving through is called Conroe. If you're looking on a map, we're going to hit Magnolia, the Woodlands, and Spring. And that bleeds into Houston proper. When I used to fly out in the Gulf, I used to come down this road at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning on a regular basis. And I had faster vehicles. This is a van, so we're not in a big hurry, but I was in a much faster vehicle, and I always run radar. And the police like to sit out here and run speed traps from the very limited traffic they get. There's one place up here they used to sit all the time. Wow, this is giving me flashbacks. my wife and I, we have two cats. We didn't go out and find our cats. Our cats found us. One's cat. We have one black cat named Lucy. Lucy was hanging out in our back. About 10 years ago, was hanging out in our backyard. We're not sure where she came from, but if you looked, we live in a townhouse. They have a courtyard, a walled-in courtyard. The cat kept passing through the courtyard, and we'd put food out for it, but if it saw us looking, it would run. And then its need to run away became lesser and lesser every day until one day I was making a bunch of phone calls. I went out there in the dark and I sat down on our table chair and I was talking on my phone, had to sit on the table, and in the darkness I hear a cat meowing, and that's when I learned that a black cat is invisible in the dark, absolutely invisible. The cat's meowing, it's around me somewhere, but I can't see it, so I put my hand down and I'm kind of feeling around to see where this is. The cat made contact and I rubbed it, said, okay, you're not going to eat me, and hung out. And then I opened the door and I said, hey wife, check this out. This black cat walked in the house, did a tour, walked around downstairs, went upstairs, walked around, looked around the house, came downstairs, climbed up on the couch, curled up in a ball. I looked at the wife and I said, we have a cat, I think. Yeah, that's kind of what happened. They did come to me. And that was about 9 or 10 years ago. That cat still lives with us. And about 2 years ago, the same thing happened with another cat. That this Lucy is black with real compact fur, and our second cat, which we named Two, as in cat number 2. And this guy, I'm trying to read. I can't read this. I'm sorry. I think I need new glasses. I can't read them. The writing's too small. I'm sorry. The second cat did the same thing. It had a big fluffy cat, and the fur was really harsh, real fluffy, but almost like wire. It was weird. And same thing. We put food out, but it only took that cat 24 hours to go, hey, you're my buddy. So the Two moved into the house, and then Lucy was the first cat we named Lucy. Two was a little put off by that. You know, it was this interloper for a couple of weeks and finally got used to it. So now we have Lucy and Two living in the house. And the wife came up with this kind of interesting little plan where she bought a catio, which is, call it a giant bird cage. It's in our backyard. It's an enclosure with shelves in it and a roof. And it's got a big door you can walk into from outside and a little door on the back. And there's one spot next to our fireplace and our sliding glass door that there's room to put in call it a cat door, a doggy door. We put in a cat door, a little tiny cat door, and made a corridor, and the cats go through the corridor and go outside. They really seem to enjoy that. Look around the house, you can't see them, stick your head out the door, and they're out there, you know, smelling the smells. Feeling the air and whatnot. That was something my wife came up with, which was kind of cool. And when I got up this morning, one of them was out there already. But when I came home at 1 o'clock in the morning, I opened the front door and my wife prepped some food for me, and Lucy came in from outside, kind of looked at me and went, oh, it's you, and went back outside, and I went upstairs, flipped on the hallway light, and Two was passed out on the bed, saw me, and jumped across the bed and got behind the wife, you know, for protection, because who was this weirdo coming in the house? Because I hadn't been around in a couple of weeks. Kind of standoffish for a while, but now they're used to me being back. On the right, you have 2 high rises. The red tips, just on the right of the screen. That's the only tall buildings in this entire area. They are checkpoints for aviation, and I don't know who owns those buildings right now, but at the time they were owned by Anadarko. That's an offshore oil company. Uh-oh, speed trap. And that checkpoint, I used to fly in up here and say checkpoint Anadarko. I don't know who owns it now. A couple of hospitals on the right. I've flown in there a few times. Something I'm noticing, because I spend so much of my time driving up in the Northeast, the roads up there are pretty rough, and it has a lot to do with the climate. You get the snow and the ice, and as it melts, it melts and it freezes, it gets in the cracks, it freezes, ice expands, and when water freezes and it expands, and it's going to push stuff out of the way, and I think that's what tears the roads up. But if you look, you notice the roads here are pretty solid. We don't really have a lot of rough roads down here. You kind of take it for granted, I guess. And then you get up to the Northeast and you're banging and popping and rattling and making all kinds of funny noises because the roads are tore up. But again, it's not the fault of the state. It's just the climate is different. So I've learned to appreciate that. Oh yeah, Texas has areas where the speed limit gets up to 85 miles an hour, which is kind of nice when you're in the middle of nowhere. You can crank it up and let it rip. And that's the woodlands we're passing through. Now we're coming up on spring. Yeah, it's nice rolling down there with no cars on the road. But I'm going to stream this until we get into Houston and break off on 59. We'll go through what's called the Medical Center, which has the busiest medical heliport in the country. It's got 4 helipads on a rooftop, and it's got its own air traffic control office. The Medical Center of Houston is in Class B airspace of Hobby, and you have to talk to Hobby. You're talking to Intercontinental, Class B, and there's a corridor between them, so you get handed off and you jump the corridor and you get into Class B. You got to muscle your way into that one on the radio, and then you got to what's called life flight control for that little area. And then when you take off, you talk to life flight control and immediately flip frequencies and talk to Hobby, and then you jump out of the airspace, flip frequencies, and talk your way into intercontinental airspace. So, but I don't do that anymore, so I don't care. Whereas a lot of cities expand upward, Houston expanded outward. And I saw a map one time of the Houston area, and they did an overlay with the map of Connecticut, and Houston was almost the size of Connecticut. That's how spread out this place is. And it kind of, there's an old joke that says Houston is 2 hours from Houston. And, there's some truth to that. Oh, it's my CV talking. The gas is kind of high right there on the right, 239. I think I paid $2.11 for the fuel that's in the van right now. Houston has 3 rings, high traffic rings. There's the inner loop, which is 610, the middle loop, which is called Beltway 8, which is a toll road, of course, and then they recently, last year's, built what's called 99, which is a third loop, which I think is finally done, which is also a toll road, except way out on the east side of town, where it kind of goes out in the middle of nowhere. And it has, I don't think the tolls out there. They keep building rings. I stay off of toll roads out of principle. Alone. Yeah, during rush hour, this whole area is stop and go. It's annoying. So when I left, the cats were watching me closely. We have 2 outside cats. We have, I guess you call them neighborhood cats. Our complex has a gate. It's gated, and there's a handful of cats that wander around, and pretty much everybody takes care of them. And we've had this big fluffy white cat we've been feeding since we've lived there for 13 years. And that cat's been lurking around there for the whole time. It's really old now, but still kicking it. We feed that one, and another cat has recently appeared. We call it Peekaboo, because Peekaboo, as soon as the food bowl comes out, Peekaboo appears out of the bushes. Oh, hey, you got food. Well, this morning I went out and 1:30 in the morning, and I poured food in the bowl, and peekaboo magically appeared. That was kind of funny. That cat was scared of us for a month, until I finally realized we're the people with the food, and we're being friendly with it. And then it started being, we could sit down on the step and pet the cat. It is currently 49 degrees. It was in the low 60s yesterday, and I was able to go ride the scooter. Went to the Rent's house. My parents got to ride, and that was kind of cool. All right, gas on the right up here, 229, getting better. Houston is the energy capital of the world. This is where all the oil companies and gas companies and stuff have their headquarters. And they manufacture fuel, or actually refine it around here. So your prices of fuel has to do with where it's made and how far they have to transport it, and how much taxes the government wants to slap on there. So this is, generally speaking, the best price fuel. I'm trying to read this, but I'm having a hard time. Oh, at this point I'm in Spring, Texas. I'm north of Houston, heading southbound. And I'm filming because there's no traffic on the road. That's the thing, is this is where rush hour kicks in, but we're way ahead of rush hour. And I'm going to keep this on into downtown, and then I'm going to branch off on Highway 59, shooting down towards Laredo. I just want to see what this looks like coming down here with the lights into the Houston area, and then I'll end it. Just not a terribly long distance. It's just downtown looks kind of cool. A lot of cities do. I'm noticing at night, even ugly, dirty cities look good at night when they turn on the neon lights and stuff. Atlanta is kind of fun. I drove through Atlanta for the first, it was like 2 in the morning, and I started recording with music, and I drove for an hour, and I went all the way through Atlanta and never came off. It looked like this. Never came off cruise control. Went under all the underpasses, which have neon lights, and it looked really cool, and I posted it, and YouTube flagged it because I had instrumental music, and they went through and cherry-picked songs they could identify, because it's royalty-free music. But YouTube reached in and cherry-picked out songs that, oh, you can't post this. It's copyright infringement. Well, when I play music, it's royalty-free. I do that on purpose. But you can't really argue with YouTube. They're not real open to that. So that sucks. So that was kind of a neat experience, because Atlanta is a nightmare for traffic. Probably like most major cities. Let's see if this works. So we're going to take this right into downtown Houston, to Buffalo Bayou, and then swing off down 59 to the medical center. There is a frighteningly large number of recreational vehicle sales places, RVs and trailers and motorhomes. How do those places stay in business? I don't understand how they even stay in business with them. I mean, how often does somebody buy an RV? And there's a zillion of them for sale used. So how do they, how can you have all these different shops all over the place? I don't get it. And RVs, I mean, they're I guess they could be fun to own, but it's not only a depreciating asset, they rot. They start to disintegrate in time. And they're freaking expensive, too. Oh, on the left, you can't see, it's out of frame, but there's a giant Subaru dealer. I don't recall there being a Subaru dealer around here. That's new. Huh. Interesting. Subarus aren't real common in this part of the country. I had to go for some training in Seattle. I got flown up there, and they said you've got an Uber to pick you up, and go to the Uber area. And they said on the Uber app, it said your ride is a blue Prius. And I look up, and there were 6 blue Priuses. I was like, you're going to have to narrow it down a little bit. That's the part of the country that likes Subarus. They're kind of rare down here. Speed limit is 65, by the way, and I'm going exactly 65. So that'll judge how fast everybody else is going. You see these tall lights on the side of the road, these traffic overhead lights? I've watched them work on those, and they're LEDs, so I imagine the bulbs last forever and a day. But if they need to bring those lights down, I've actually watched them do it. At the base of the tower, there's a plate, and they take off a bunch of giant, like 1-inch bolts. They open the door, and there's some kind of mechanism you push, and it's a cable pulley, and you hit it, and it lowers the light. Now it's on the left side. It literally lowers that entire circular light fixture down to your level, and you can swap the bulbs on everything, hit a button, and the whole thing reels itself back up again. That's kind of brilliant, because if you had to work on a light pole that high, you'd be out of luck trying to get to it. But they used to be incandescent years ago, and then one day we came down here and they were LEDs, which I thought was kind of cool. Way more efficient. CarMax, wildly overpriced vehicles. That's the audience. QT gas station on the right, $2.29. A little better. A lot of car dealers this side. There's a lot of places that they have humongous car auctions down here, and people hook them up and take them up north because rust is not an issue on this part of town. I smell the fish, food. I don't know what that means. Sorry. Because we don't have rust down here, and you see a car with rust, you do a double take, because those don't belong here. There is one thing they run into is you can get flood cars in this area. What happens is this area is a low part, and you get a big storm out in the Gulf and it beaches in and drops 10 gajillion gallons of water. It can flood some areas. And then the storm moves to the northeast part of the United States, drops another 10 gajillion gallons of water, and all that water gets in the rivers and comes down here and adds to the problem. So they have had some flooding. And prior to Hurricane Katrina in 2005, they had Tropical Storm Allison, I think it was 2001, at that point had been the biggest flooding of a major American city in history. And it was here that happened. The downtown area got blasted. But that was the last big flood that I can remember. There's the Volkswagen dealer. They sell the Volkswagen bus. It's called the ID, the Buzz ID. And if they would put a motor in it, if you're listening, Volkswagen, if you'd put a motor in it, I'd buy it. But if you're going to try to sell an electric-only vehicle, not interested. I just wish they put a motor in it. Communists. Again, we're in spring. We're still quite a ways out of Houston. This is the Beltway 8 right here in front of us coming up. You can't see it very well, but on the left there's a concrete wall. There's a single lane. There's a concrete wall, a single lane, and a concrete wall. And in the mornings from, I think, 5 to 11, it's open inbound to catch the HOV lane going into Houston. And then in the afternoons at 11, it closes, and at 1 o'clock, they flip it around, and then it's outbound. So they share one lane for HOV, and it works. What is this guy doing? Oh, it's a taco truck. Excuse me, it's a taco trailer. Something's going on over there. Oh, they're doing road maintenance. Well, this is the time of day to do it. At least they did that. There's a spaghetti bowl of overpasses. God, it's nice coming down here at highway speeds. This is a totally different experience. Coming up on the left is an area that looks like a police vehicle, but I think it's HOV lane guy. Yeah, that's an HOV lane maintenance guy or something. There's a place coming up on the left up here called Greens Point, which is famous. There was a mall there, and there was so much violence. This is back years ago. There was so much violence and gunfire, they started calling the place Guns Point. And the mall kind of fizzled out over that. It's the people that live around here can be unfriendly. I guess every city's got that somewhere. That's where they have it. Guns Point. Somewhat famous. Those flashing red lights on the right are the on-ramp. That guy's in a hurry. The on-ramp to the HOV. I don't know why it's closed, because it's supposed to be open this time. Well, eventually open this time of day going inbound. Yeah, that guy was in a hurry. Yeah, and I used to fly out of Galveston. It was a 90-mile jaunt down to Galveston to go to work. And I would get out here in my little car with radar and Waze, and I would go lickety-split like he was. Blast through the area. Still in spring here. It's just after what, 2 o'clock in the morning here? Yeah, 2:20 in the morning. I was curious if anybody was up. I'm guessing people are jumping on here from overseas, because this is a weird time to be up and about during the day. Trying to plan the next vacation here, the next couple of months. The wife and I like to travel. When you're younger, you're in a mindset of buying stuff and owning stuff and having stuff, and there's a time in your life when you don't want anything, you just want to go do things. My wife and I hit that a while back, so we're into travel. That's our main goal. Instead of having the giant house and the car collection, we have this van, which is my work vehicle. We have a 2014 Kia Soul, which we bought new, and we still have with 93,000 miles on it. And my Berkman scooter, which I like to ride. So we're not looking for another house, we're not looking for another car, we're not looking for anything. What? I can't read that word. My glasses are official. I don't know. I can't read the word. I'm sorry. This is north side of Houston, going through Houston, turning on Highway 59 and going down to Laredo on the border. I got a box. The paperwork's all in Spanish, but thank God they gave me the address I could read. So I'm going to throw this box out, and I'm not wasting my time trying to pick anything up. I'm just going to turn around and drive back up here and go out of service. Because I got to do that stupid VA thing tomorrow. I got to go to the hospital, go to the VA, the biggest, I think it's the biggest one in the country here in Houston. I got to go. They're going to admit me for 3 days. I'm trying some new medication they're putting me on, and it's something that requires you to be monitored. I don't even know what the medication is. We'll find out. And I'm going to sit there and work on my computer. I don't know, maybe I'll shoot a video or two while I'm in the VA. Something to do. Let me try something different here. Switch those out for these. Let me see if these work better. So let's see something. I'm in Houston too. South side, got it. South Side? What are you doing up at 2 o'clock in the morning, you weirdo? I'm up because I have to be up. Still set on 65 here. You doing 1800 what? 1800, whoa! Okay, so much for reading that. The same question? Well, this job that I have, I'm an expediter, which is truck driving in a van. And the job for expediting, more times than not, is moving car parts. And the location of all the expediting is in the northeast part of the United States. So I loiter around down here, this is where I live, and I pick up a load, and I head up to the northeast, and I run around Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, down to the Carolinas, bounce around for a few weeks. And then I get a load, and I come home, and this is the load to come home. It's going to Laredo. I picked it up Friday. I got home at 1 o'clock in the morning on Monday, and the Laredo warehouses are closed until Monday morning at 8:30 specifically. So I came home, and I've been hanging out at the house running errands. So I got up this morning so I can boogie down there. It's 350-ish miles. I'm going to go down there and drop first thing in the morning, come back, and then I'm going out of service for a week. So that's why I'm up. And this is the best time to drive through Houston. Of course, you probably know that. We're going to get down here. I wanted to show first I wanted to show the drive, which is not a, well, there's the downtown area, which is a gunfight during rush hour. It's just kind of nice right now, but I can't be looking down at this because I can't seem to drive and do it at the same time. Aha, I'm passing somebody. Aha. Coming up on the 610 loop on this end. Run us through the downtown area. It's all lit up down here. When I used to fly out in the Gulf, I would come down in the morning sometimes, and what's this guy crushing his brakes? Moving over one. I would come down here in the mornings and kind of trying to judge what the weather looks like. You know, dude, you can go more than 30 miles an hour on the highway. Just saying. Come down here in the mornings and see how you could see in the background there in downtown Houston, and you would judge the ceilings based on how the buildings were cut off by the weather. And that would kind of, because they're lit up, you could kind of go, all right, we're going to have a weather issue today, or the ceilings are going to be too low or whatnot. And that was kind of my measuring stick to know what was going to happen when we try to go fly offshore. And there's the 610 get off. Yeah, this is always backed up through here. Yeah, I dialed up my target in Laredo, and my GPS was telling me to turn. Sorry, I'm going down to 59. So there's Houston in the background. The big city. I've driven through the downtown area quite a few times, and all the street names on this end, on the north end, are all Alamo related. There's, you know, like Travis and stuff like that. All the players of the Alamo were named for the streets, which I kind of thought was funny. And there's the big Houston skyline. Well, small but tall Houston skyline. Slowing down a little bit. 60 through here. There's a famous bridge up here. There's messages painted on it, but the one message that always returns says "Be something." It pops up a lot of times on the news and in movies and whatnot. Yeah, yeah, the GPS has its version. When I dialed this up originally, it was telling me to go to drive over to San Antonio and cut down 35. The problem is, by the time I got to San Antonio, it would be rush hour. And I'm not really interested in going through San Antonio's rush hour, so I'll just turn down 59 and avoid everything. Yeah, this is nice going through here. When they had that flood in Allison, that concrete wall on the left, that's, I don't know, waist high for me. That was underwater, this whole area. But there's a sky, there's a good look at it. We're gonna get up here. We're going up on a raised bridge right now, going uphill. And we're gonna turn off on 59 and drop back down. That is the Houston skyline. See how pretty it looks at night? At day it's kind of, but it looks nice at night. Where's the bridge? I'll let all the people in a hurry go by. So the next one. It's right there. You can't read it. Ah, yeah, you can't really read it. Right there is this beast. Someone we're passing under it. There's no lights on it. Slide over one. There's a blinking Ferris wheel. I've never actually been to that location. There's an aquarium right there too. Never been to the aquarium. Been to the aquarium in Los Angeles, and I'm with the wife, and I went to the one in Corpus Christi, and the one in Corpus Christi was wildly superior to the LA version. Over here off our right there's a radio TV station, Fox 26, and for a period of time I worked as the backup pilot for them. Sky Fox 26. Got to be that guy. That was fun. Buffalo Bayou, which is a river, is underneath us. That thing with the white ring around it is a fancy downtown townhouse. It was an old warehouse they remodeled. That's kind of the high rent area. Got some high-rise condos down here that were built. I looked them up. They were buildings were made in 1960 or 64, which is coming around this corner here. Yeah, this tall building, it's going to be coming from right there. There's a couple of these. That's a condo complex, and it's indoor parking, and there's a shelf right there, like a 3-story shelf. And there's on top of that, there's a swimming pool and barbecue pits and all kinds of stuff. And everybody's got a patio. There's a second one right there on the right. That's overlooking the highway and overlooking the downtown area, which I guess in a way could be kind of cool if you live there. I need to go 59. That's us. And we're still on the raised road, and it's going to drop. Yeah, they've remodeled down here. That gas station was there. This is so weird driving down here and not not getting caught. Yeah, this area is This is not, okay, now this is saying 5969 south of Victoria. This is us. Yeah, this right lane next to us molds into the lane on the other side, and there's no warning. Right there, it kind of comes together, and in heavy traffic, that's a heck of a surprise. Get in the middle where I'm safe. Yeah, this is going to go through the medical center, I think. I've never been through it on the ground. GPS is trying to spin me around and spin me back up to 10, but I don't want to go down 10. I want to go down 59. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of hospitals, and that might be one of them right there. A whole conglomerate of hospitals in this area. Take off, they go grab a load, and they would say, okay, we're going to a memorial. I'm like, you get out the GPS, they're all programmed in, but they're all three-letter initials. Then you got to come down here and pick out the right one. They got a double. The HOV is different. Looks like it's really wide. Maybe there's double lanes down here. This is a lot more cars than I would have expected to see here. A lot more cars at 2:30 in the morning. Big fancy overpasses. Let's see where this goes. That's where this GPS is trying to spin me back up to 10, but I'm not doing it. I'm just staying on 59. This guy's making me look like I'm driving fast. Oh, there's another Porsche dealership. So they got two Porsche dealerships in Houston, which that's not a car you exactly see on the road very often. It's odd. It's not down here. Ooh. What's this say? Right lanes closed at University. Yeah, not going there. Don't care. Yeah, every major city seems to look better in the dark, including this one. Lots of flashing lights. I'm getting knocked around here by the wind. And the winds, when you have a strong wind in tall buildings, when the wind wraps around the buildings, it's turbulent on the other side. It's called an eddy wind in aviation that comes into play. I'm feeling it down here at low level. Mercedes-Benz of Houston, another Mercedes dealer. Huh. How many can one city support? So later on today, probably right smack a little, I'll be driving back through this again on my way back to the hacienda. Back to 610, which I'm not I am going the speed limit, just everybody's blowing past me. Let's see if I can get south. Oh, that's the 610. That's the inner loop turnoff there. More spaghetti bowl of overpasses. And then staying on 59. Eventually the GPS is going to figure out what I'm doing and it's going to go with it, but it's recalculating right now. And don't tell me to turn around and go back. There we go. Now it's on board. 123 miles to my next turn. It's finally agreeing with me. So this is south. Going southwest, west-southwest out of Houston at this point, and the high rises are pretty much behind us. 1, 2, 3, 5 lanes to play with. Yeah, if it could only be like this all the time around here. Oh my God. I see gas at 225. So anyway, we're trying to plan a vacation, and I've got a couple different ideas. Last summer, we took a train ride. We flew to Seattle and took a train ride to, Chicago, and rode the train across the northern part of the country to Seattle. It was the longest route I could find. And the only problem with the ride was the car we were in, the air conditioner was hit and miss, and it was really hot, so I tried to get us to change to a different car. They didn't have any room. I called Amtrak headquarters and kind of stirred the pot, and they ended up giving us, a $500 credit for future travel, which expires in June, and I don't want to give up that $500, so I'm trying to come up with a travel plan that involves riding a train, somehow in the middle of all that to use that money. But I don't have it quite worked out. As far as big trips go, I'm thinking about, when the time comes, to go to Seattle and catch a cruise ship and go up into the Alaska, along the coast, through the channels or whatever they call them up there. That's another option. But we gotta do the finances and figure out how we're gonna do this. But the clock's ticking on that $500 voucher, and I don't want to lose it. That's my current dilemma, as my wife would say. Colorado. I think that's supposed to be. Yeah, I've been down here, but it was years ago. I don't remember what I was doing down here. Still lit up like a Christmas tree. So like I said, I turned this stream on 48 minutes ago, and you see it's been lit up the whole time because this area is spread out so much. Chevy dealer. Yeah, I haven't been to this part of town in a while. I don't think I've ever been through here at night either. It's just a little different. TCHCP College. Okay. Never heard of it. It's a high rise. Yeah, they've got a football team down here. I know they have a soccer team and a baseball team. The baseball stadium's really nice. It's on the other side of town. It's beautiful. I don't know about the other stuff. There's Memorial Hermann. I've flown in there. It's on the left. That's what I was saying, Memorial Hermann. To that one. we'd pick up a patient, and they would have somebody would figure out what they needed, what kind of services they needed. Then you had to find a hospital that specialized in, trauma level 1, 2, or 3, who could deal with that injury, and sometimes, or their situation, sometimes it was a combination of problems. It wasn't just one thing. So you'd have to have a hospital that dealt with multiple issues, and then they had to have bed space, and then they had to check insurance to make sure they were on that plan, and then that's how we would deliver people. And we picked up a woman and took her to Dallas, which is a pretty good hop for a helicopter. Flew up to Dallas because she had a multitude of issues. I remember doing that one. We had to pick up a woman that was in a car accident, and it was on a 2-lane country road in the trees. And I don't know the backstory, but apparently her car was in a ditch, and she had been down there for an unknown length of time, and someone just noticed the piece of the car poking up. So we pulled her out. She was knocked out. I didn't get a good look at her or anything, but they didn't know if she'd been there 5 minutes or 5 days. I mean, they didn't know. And we just took her to the closest hospital and said, here, figure this one out. Dropped her off. Said, have a nice day. I don't know how that turned out, but that was one of the weirdest pickups. It was in the woods. They brought me into a T intersection. There was a traffic light, some power lines, and trees all the way around it. And you get them on the radio. They got ground radios. We dial it up, and I said, all right, what do you got? And the guy says, land by the white car in the intersection. There was like 4 different white vehicles. I said, could you narrow it down to one? And they go, oh yeah, the truck with the rack on it. Okay, so I'm shooting my approach, and I'm slowing down, and I've got, you come in, you approach into an LZ like that, and you got your nurse and your medic in the back seat looking out both sides, and they're looking, and you come in super slow. The idea is if you need to stop, you can. So you come in super slow, and we're inching our way down. We're about 40, 50 feet off the ground, and a highway patrol vehicle pulls up underneath us and stops right where I'm getting ready to land. So I stop the descent, pull power, and I climb out. And I said, hey, can you get the police car out of my LZ? It's a little bit rude. And then, of course, they got to go wave at him, and he moves, and I have to turn, come back in, and everybody backs up. The actual location we're going to set the aircraft down is in a shadow. So I come over, and I hover over the spot, stop, and I'm coming straight down real slow, look left, right, left, right, left, right. There's a fire truck like 150 feet in front of me blocking the road, and there's nobody by it. I can see it up front of me, and I look left and right, and all the personnel are standing out there staring at us. And I'm coming straight down, watching the wires, watching the trees, watching the wires. And right when I get into the shadow, I look in front of me, and there's a woman standing not 10 feet in front of the helicopter, holding her camera up, filming. She's right in front of me. She's underneath the rotor disc. And I stop, and I pull power, and I climb out of the hole, and I go, could somebody please get the rubber neck away from the front of my aircraft, please? And then they stop and go over and tell her to get lost, which I don't know how she got in there. So it's 3 times a charm. We go around for a 3rd time and come in and get a little flustered at this point. Then set it down and land, and they load this woman up and we get out of there. That was frustrating. I've seen video of a helicopter sitting on a highway waiting to pick somebody up, and they've got traffic blocked, and some guy in a truck decides he doesn't want to wait, so he's just going to drive through the scene and keep on going. And he attempted to drive underneath the helicopter's rotors and didn't quite make it. He's going to have some explaining to do to his insurance company with that one. All right, we are exiting town. Alrighty, this morning I wanted to show the lighting and what it looks like going through, and that's pretty much it. We're coming out the southwest side of town. But But I just wanted to show that I hadn't streamed recently, a couple days. So that was it for this morning. I'll let you guys go back to bed, and I will catch up with you later. Take care.